Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. Republicans and Democrats agree. Give vast snooping powers to the U.S. government. Even in our polarized and right versus left political paradigm, there is one thing both Republican and Democrats can agree on. The federal government should have vast snooping powers and conduct mass surveillance on everyone. They simply disagree over who should be in charge of abusing those excessive powers. We know that's the only thing they really get along on with is stripping rights from the American people. The impeachment circus did one thing successfully. It took attention from the government's mass surveillance programs that are constantly expanded. If Democrats really feared Donald Trump's exercise of the powers of the presidency, why would they propose extending the surveillance powers of the controversial Patriot Act? House Democrats have successfully slipped in unqualified renewal of the draconian Patriot Act into an emergency funding bill, voting near unanimously for sweeping surveillance carte blanche that was the basis for the notorious NSA program. Buried on the next to last page of the Continuing Appropriations Act, meant to keep the government lights on and dated yesterday, is the following language. Section 102B of the U.S. Patriot Act, Improvement and Reauthorization Act of 2005, amended by striking December 15, 2019, and inserted March 15, 2020. This relatively innocuous language pushes back the sunset provision of the Patriot Act by 3 months, leaving its vast powers in the hands of a president who Democratic presidential hopeful Joe Biden charges with failure to uphold basic democratic principles, who House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has accused of alarming connection and conduct with Russia and joined by the Senate. Democratic leader Charles Schumer says he is making an attempt to shred the Constitution. If Democrats honestly believe that Trump was all of those things he's being accused of, why trust him with the Patriot Act? This shows that the whole thing is fake. The American Civil Liberties Union agrees, calling the Patriot Act an overnight revision of the nation's surveillance laws that vastly expanded the government's authority to spy on its own citizens, while simultaneously reducing checks and balances on those powers like judicial oversight, public accountability, and the ability to challenge government searches in court. Attempts to roll back the spying powers of the government have all failed. This power is only expanded, and it's going to get harder for the people to protect themselves against the government when they abuse this power. The last time, in 2018, libertarian-leaning Republicans and a handful of Democrats wanted to strip the government of some of its mass surveillance powers, and it's failed. Quote, "It's become quickly apparent that leading Democrats intended to side with Trump and against those within their own party who favored imposing safeguards on the Trump administration's ability to engage in domestic surveillance," The Intercept Glenn Greenswald wrote at the time. The most bizarre aspect of this spectacle was that the Democrats who most aggressively defended Trump's version of the surveillance bill, the Democrats most eager to preserve virtually the powers as virtually limitless, were the very same Democrats House members who have become media stars this year by flamboyantly denouncing Trump as treasonous, lawless despot in front of every television camera they could find. It shows that this whole thing is fake. They act like they really can't get along, but when it comes to stripping Americans of their rights, they have no problems voting unconstitutional things like this into law. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out DEMOCREPUBLIX.com for the latest in news. Until next time.
We live in a real nightmare. We live in a real nightmare.